Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 for criminal law. This week we're going to move on and cover chapter 2. We're going to talk about the Constitution and what limits the Constitution places on criminal law. So we're going to start out with a really short lecture. This one's really short. I'm just going to really quick kind of give an overview of what we're going to learn and some basic concepts. And then the next lecture will really be much more detailed and really go into what we'll call the substantive due process analysis test. So it will be a little bit longer. And then the last lecture for the week, we'll talk about constitutional rights. So we'll talk up this week, or this lecture, we're just going to talk about some general concepts. So I'm going to share my screen for a second so that you can see what I'm talking about. So like I said, we're going to move on to chapter 2, and chapter 2 is really going to look at in what ways does the Constitution limit criminal law, okay? So I have this quote: the layman's constitutional view is that what he likes is constitutional and what he doesn't like is unconstitutional. And a lot of people think that, well, I just don't like abortion, so it should be unconstitutional to have an abortion, or I like abortion, it should be constitutional right to have an abortion. And that's not really how we decide things, whether they're constitutional or not. So we're going to look at that this week. How does the Supreme Court really make decisions about what is constitutional and what isn't constitutional? So my first question to you is, can Congress pass any laws that they want? So if they just decide, oh, I want to pass a law, do they have any limitations on the types of laws that they can pass? And the answer to this is yes, there are limitations. And those limitations are the US Constitution, okay? So no, they cannot pass any laws that they want because their decisions are limited by the Constitution. The US Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So you can never make any laws that violate the US Constitution. So let's think about the Constitution. What are the two main purposes of our US Constitution? Well, the first is to create our government. So Articles 1, 2, and 3 create our government. Article 1 creates the legislative branch. Article 2 creates the executive branch, or the presidency, and Article 3 creates the judicial branch, or the court system, okay? So that's what Articles 1, 2, and 3 do. Now, as soon as it creates our government, the next thing it does is it turns around and it places limits on that government. We did not want an all-powerful king or an absolute monarchy or anything like that. So when they wrote the Constitution, after creating the 3 parts, they immediately put in checks and balances to keep any one part from becoming too powerful, okay? So the 2 purposes were to create the government and then to limit that government in some way. And that was the purpose of the Constitution. Now, by limiting the power of the Constitution, it puts limits on what laws that Congress can create, including the criminal laws. So they just can't create any sort of law that they want, okay? We are what's called a constitutional democracy. That means the majority cannot just make up anything they want. We have fundamental rights that we have in our Constitution, and Congress cannot pass laws under most cases if those violate those fundamental rights. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. Now, one of the first limitations that the Constitution places on criminal law is what we call the due process clause. So due process means fair process. We have to have a fair process. So if we're going to arrest and convict somebody, we need to have a fair process, and we don't arrest people for things that we consider fundamental rights. So that's what we're talking about, due process, the right to life, liberty, and property, or pursuit of happiness. And if they're going to limit those things, we have to have a fair process to do that, okay? Now, when you're talking about due process, you can really break it down into 2 categories. We have what's called procedural due process and substantive due process. So procedural due process is the idea that we have to have a fair process. If we're going to arrest and convict, we have to have notice of what the charges are. We have to have notice of a trial, and we have to have the actual procedures of a trial, a jury and attorneys and all of those steps. Those are procedural due process. We're not going to talk about those so much in here. That's criminal procedure law. So we'll talk about procedural due process in that class if you take that class. This is criminal law. So we're going to talk about what are substantive due process rights. So substantive due process rights are those rights that everybody in the whole country has. So these would be things that we consider our fundamental constitutional rights. And these are the rights mostly found in the Bill of Rights. So if you thought about it, what rights do you think are the most fundamental rights that exist in our country? Freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, search and seizure, unknown lawful searches and seizures. So those are what we call substantive rights, rights that all of us in the whole country have. And so what we're going to look at in the next lecture, if Congress wants to pass a law that limits these rights in some way, there has to be a certain test that those laws have to pass. And that's called the substantive due process analysis test. And that's what we're going to spend the whole second lecture doing. And that's what your first homework assignment will be. Now, if you're confused at all about the differences between these two, I posted a video, maybe explains it in a different way that makes more sense to you. So you can, it's optional, but you can go and watch that if you think that that will help explain the difference a little bit more. Okay, and I've also posted a little assessment on different things, and you decide if they're procedural or they're substantive. So you can take that just to review to make sure that you understand the concepts. So that's all that I have for this first section. The next lecture will get much more detailed into the actual substantive due process analysis test. So I will see you then.